Thank you, Madam Chair. My questions actually have been addressed, but I do want to say, for the record, I want to thank you and Ranking Member Shabbat for having this hearing. As you know, this issue is very important to me, and I've worked on it for some time, and I think it's very important to small business, and I appreciate what the committee's doing moving forward this. I think that we do need to change those eligibility requirements. Small businesses are the backbone of the economy in this country, and I think this program is just one of them that would go a long ways, and I think we do need to fix this. But thank you both for doing this.
Testimony, you indicate that SBA would like to develop quality metrics that can assist agencies in developing standards to limit the perceived effect of so-called SBIR mills. What is your view on the reporting requirements of the draft bill, which require the SBA to report on awardees that have won more than 15 Phase 1 grants and no Phase 2 grants over a 5-year period?
Well, I think, ma'am, I think all of your, apologize, I think your whole intention of providing greater transparency, greater metrics, greater reporting in the program is great. And I would really look forward to working with you and your staff and the industry to figure out what that should look like, and specifically to make sure that that process goes forward effectively.
Thank you. In January, a leading law firm issued an advisory indicating that participation in the SBIR program creates significant risk for venture-backed companies under the False Claim Act. Is the SBA concerned that confusing affiliation rules are causing all venture-backed companies, not just companies that are majority owned by venture firms, to forego participation in the SBIR program?
Well, I don't know the text of that advisory, but certainly if firms are going for these funds inappropriately, they should be concerned. And I think we all should be concerned if firms are, in any aspect of federal contracting, not qualified as a small business and they're going for a small business program. That having been said, I'm not familiar with the text of that discussion, and if it is, I think our affiliation rules are fairly straightforward. It's 500 employees in the affiliated group and 51% ownership by individuals. I do think that there are other structures that some people can use to avail themselves of the program that begin to get more complex, and that's what I think we should think about simplifying. But, as I hear your statement, I think any firm that avails himself inappropriately of a program should be concerned with legal consequences.
Well, I am not talking about firms that are illegally applying, like those who have gotten contracts with the federal government claiming that they were small firms and yet they got $12 billion in 1 year. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about small firms that are concerned because of whatever structure and the fact that they consider the affiliations rule confusing, that they are so concerned about getting venture capital money.
Well, I have not heard that firms that qualify under the affiliation rules are walking away from the program because of confusion. And I would assume that is focusing on firms that do not qualify.
Well, that is a matter of, I think, of concern, and maybe we should revisit this issue, because for those companies that should go, especially those who finish from Phase 1 and are willing and able to move to Phase 2, and in order to move to Phase 2 and to get into commercialization, they have to show that they can secure money from the private market, and that will inhibit them to do so. So,
okay, I think once a firm...
If you, and I hope that you're going to leave your staff here for the second panel, but these are issues that are going to be discussed by the witnesses on the second panel. So it's just not a matter to say, it's not enough to say that those who are applying for this type of money or SBIR grants and are ineligible. We are talking about people who are playing by the rules, companies that are playing by the rules.
Well, I think that ruling that or that advisory you mentioned implies that companies aren't playing by the rules. And if the text of that is different, and there is any detail in there that would give us a better understanding of how to clarify those rules, we'd love to look at that.
Well, I guess that the statement, what implies is that the rules are so confusing that companies are concerned of unintended consequences, even when they are playing by the rules. Section 9 of the Small Business Act specifies that for an SBIR company to be eligible for Phase 2 awards, it should be able to demonstrate that it can secure private funding from non-SBIR sources. The SBA's current view, however, runs counter to this. How can you reconcile the program's statutory basis with your agency's current stand against venture capital investment?
We don't have any stance against venture capital investment. Many of these firms get venture capital investment. The only stance we have is majority ownership by large venture capital firms. So I think it's important that we draw the line appropriately here. These firms get venture cap, they should get venture cap, and they're going to need it to grow. The other thing I would tell you is today in the program, only 10 to 12% of these firms have any venture cap funding. So when you look at that 10 to 12%, and then we're talking about going to majority venture cap funding before they even get these grants, I think we're talking about a relatively small subset of the firms. And then when you take it further to say we think they should be able to be majority owned by large venture cap firms, I think you're getting to an even smaller subset.
I believe that the way you structure the affiliation rules, you limit venture capital participation. And I guess that if you listen to the testimony and the discussion that we're going to have on the second panel, this is a real concern that cripples the ability of companies to move from Phase 1, Phase 2 to commercialization. And I guess that we have work to do on this issue because it is an issue, it is a problem, and it's just not enough to say that small firms that play by the rules can apply for grant money and there will be no unintended consequences. The draft bill grants federal agencies the express authority to increase the size of the SBIR awards they issue. It also includes provision clarifying that agencies have the authority to issue more than one Phase 2 award for promising projects. What are the SBA's views on these provisions?
We agree that it's time for the size of the grants to increase. And in fact, we've been working in-house on a rule to address that. So I think it is time, and we're supportive of an increase.